A baby girl just 15 months old vanished without a trace. No witnesses, no immediate outcry, no answers. Days turned to weeks, and weeks turned to months. And yet, no one seemed to know where she was. But someone did. Her disappearance was not reported for nearly 2 months. No frantic search, no missing posters in those early days. And when the alarm was finally raised, the story that followed would be anything but straightforward. Conflicting statements, changing timelines, lies stacked upon more lies. Law enforcement would chase shadows, chasing a truth that slipped through their fingers time and time again. And when they finally uncovered the answers, buried deep in a place no child should ever be, it left an entire community shaken. To understand how this tragedy unfolded, we must go back to the beginning, to the last known days of Evelyn Boswell, and the web of lies that followed. Sullivan County, Tennessee. A quiet place, a close-knit community where everyone knows their neighbors, the kind of town where news travels fast. But somehow, one little girl seemed to disappear without a trace. A baby, just learning to walk, with bright blue eyes and a tiny giggle, gone. No police report, no desperate search in those first days, no late-night news alerts. Her name was Evelyn May Boswell, just 15 months old. A child who should have been playing with stuffed animals, learning new words, held safely in the arms of those who were supposed to protect her. But by the time the world learned she was missing, it was already too late. Megan Boswell, just 18 years old at the time, was Evelyn's mother. The one person who should have been her voice, her protector. But instead of giving police a clear answer about where Evelyn was, Megan's statements changed, over and over again. It didn't make sense. Why would a mother not report her child missing? Why wait weeks, even months? And if Evelyn was safe, then where was she?
Authorities are searching for 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell, last seen in December, but not reported missing until February. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has issued an AMBER alert as detectives try to piece together what happened. By the time law enforcement got involved, they had already lost precious time. Nearly 2 months had passed since Evelyn was last seen. 2 months without an official report. 2 months where no one outside her immediate family questioned where she was. And when investigators turned to the person who should have had all the answers, her mother, Megan Boswell, the story she told would raise more red flags than explanations.
The search for Evelyn was officially underway. But from the very beginning, it was clouded with uncertainty, half-truths, and outright deception. And as authorities dug deeper, the story of Evelyn Boswell only became more troubling, more tangled, more tragic. No one knew it yet, but in just a few weeks, the truth would come out. A truth that no one was prepared to face. To understand what really happened to Evelyn Boswell, we need to go back to the last time she was seen. The last days before she vanished, the trail of inconsistencies, arrests, and shocking discoveries that followed, because in this case, nothing was as it seemed. If you've made it this far, you don't want to miss more shocking and in-depth true crime stories like this one. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you'll always be the first to know when we uncover the truth behind cases that leave the world searching for answers. Evelyn May Boswell, a bright-eyed 15-month-old toddler, was last seen in December 2019. But strangely, no one realized she was missing until February 2020, nearly 2 months later. It wasn't her mother, Megan Boswell, who reported her absence. Instead, it was Evelyn's grandfather, concerned after not seeing his granddaughter for weeks, who finally alerted authorities. By the time law enforcement was involved, Evelyn's trail had already gone cold. The delay raised immediate red flags. Why hadn't anyone reported her missing sooner? What was Megan hiding? As investigators questioned Megan, her explanations shifted constantly. First, she claimed Evelyn was with her father, Ethan Perry, a military serviceman stationed in Louisiana. But when authorities contacted him, he had no idea where Evelyn was. Then Megan alleged that Evelyn had been taken by a babysitter, someone she refused to name. With every interview, her stories unraveled further. Her reluctance to cooperate slowed the search efforts, frustrating investigators and the public alike. The clock was ticking, and every passing day made the chances of finding Evelyn alive even slimmer. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, TBI, issued an Amber Alert for Evelyn on February 19, 2020, one day after she was officially reported missing. The case gained immediate media attention, with news outlets broadcasting the toddler's photo across the country. But as authorities launched a frantic search, they found themselves chasing dead ends. Megan continued to provide conflicting statements, forcing investigators to waste valuable time verifying false leads. At one point, she claimed Evelyn had been dropped off at a park, only to later retract the statement. Every lie pulled them further from the truth. Meanwhile, another development raised even more suspicion. Angela Boswell, Megan's mother, and her boyfriend, William McLeod, were arrested in Wilkes County, North Carolina on February 20, 2020, just a day after the Amber Alert was issued. They were caught driving a stolen 2007 BMW, a vehicle linked to Megan. Did Angela know more than she was letting on? Was this stolen car connected to Evelyn's disappearance? Authorities pressed Angela for answers, but like her daughter, she offered little help. As the search continued, law enforcement expanded their efforts, combing through rural properties, interviewing neighbors, and analyzing phone records. Every hour mattered. And then, on February 25, 2020, Megan Boswell was arrested for providing false reports. The case had taken a disturbing turn, but the worst was yet to come. For weeks, investigators followed countless leads, only to hit wall after wall. But on March 6, 2020, they received a tip that led them to a property belonging to Evelyn's grandfather. In the backyard, authorities searched a storage shed. Inside, they found a small body wrapped in a blanket, stuffed inside a trash can, covered with toys and clothing. It was Evelyn. The condition of her remains sent shockwaves through the community. Autopsy results later confirmed the cause of death as asphyxiation, with aluminum foil found inside her mouth. It was a horrifying revelation. The child had not simply gone missing. She had been silenced. Now the focus shifted to Megan Boswell, the one person who had consistently obstructed the investigation. The evidence against her was mounting, and prosecutors were ready to build their case. The world was about to hear the full truth, and it was more disturbing than anyone had imagined. As investigators pieced together the fragments of Evelyn Boswell's final days, one thing became painfully clear. Megan Boswell had woven a web of deception too tangled to escape. Early on, she painted herself as a desperate mother searching for her missing daughter. She insisted she was telling the truth, that she was doing everything she could to help. But the forensic evidence told a different story. When Evelyn's remains were found, wrapped in a blanket, hidden beneath a pile of toys, it was not just a tragic discovery, it was a contradiction to everything Megan had claimed. There was no babysitter. There was no last-minute handoff to Evelyn's father. There was no abduction. The forensic report shattered any lingering doubt. The cause of death was asphyxiation. The aluminum foil in Evelyn's mouth was no accident. Someone had silenced her. Someone had taken deliberate steps to ensure she would never be found. As the case moved to trial, prosecutors presented their evidence as inconsistencies in Megan's alibis, each new version of her story unraveling under scrutiny. Phone records contradicting her timeline, the location of Evelyn's body, hidden on a property connected to Megan's own family. In the end, the jury delivered a verdict, guilty of first-degree murder. Megan Boswell, once a mother pleading for answers, was now convicted of taking her own daughter's life. A child whose disappearance should have shaken a family instead exposed an unforgivable betrayal. The case of Evelyn Boswell is not just a story of a crime. It is a reminder of the unthinkable. A child, unable to speak for herself, surrounded by those who should have protected her. Instead, she became a victim of the very people meant to love her most. But here's the haunting question. How does a child go missing for 2 months before anyone notices? How many more stories like Evelyn's remain hidden, waiting to be uncovered? This case leaves us with difficult questions, ones that demand reflection. Do you believe justice was truly served? Was Evelyn failed long before her disappearance? We want to hear your thoughts. Share your opinions in the comments below. But please, let's keep it respectful. Every discussion brings more awareness to stories like Evelyn's. If you found this case compelling and want to see more in-depth true crime stories, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. There are still so many stories to uncover, so many voices that deserve to be heard. And if you're interested in similar cases, check out our true crime playlist. Thank you for watching, and remember, awareness is the first step toward justice.